Welcome to the Open Forum in the Villages, Florida podcast. In this show, we talk to leaders in the community, leaders of clubs, and interesting folks who live here in the Villages, to give perspectives of what is happening here in the Villages. We hope to add a new episode most Fridays at 9 a.m. We are a listener-supported podcast. You can become a supporter for as little as $3 per month, or you can choose to pay more. To become a supporter, go to openforuminthevillages.com and click on Support in the black box. There will be shoutouts for supporters in episodes. In Season 4, we have made some dramatic improvements and changes. First is a clarification of the podcast's title. It is Open Forum in the Villages, Florida, to make clear that this is a regional show, independently produced for folks who live in Central Florida and the Villages areas. Second is a dramatic increase in the use of AI in the creation of each episode. In fact, the show's announcers are now all AI voices, including me, Emily.
This is Mike Roth on Open Forum in the Villages. I'm here today with another podcaster in the Villages, Scott Beckner. Scott's podcast is called Lanai Gossip.
Correct.
Scott, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Well, I moved to the Villages about 3 years ago, actually full-time.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in Georgia. I worked at Georgia College and State University. And we came down here. It's about a 5-hour drive. And we lived on a lake.
Mm-hmm.
And the lake was 422 miles of shoreline.
Wow.
I had friends that I worked with that I'd get in my boat and drive 30 miles an hour to their house, and it took me an hour to get to their house on a boat. So we were thinking about where would we like to retire.
What was the name of the lake?
Lake Sinclair.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we came down here. We wanted to check it out. We read about it, saw it online, and we came down here and we actually bought the first day that we were here.
You didn't take the trolley tour, did you?
No, we didn't take the tour. We had a realtor from the Villages show us around, and we also had an outside realtor show us around.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought a patio villa, 2-bedroom down over in Fernandina.
Mm-hmm.
Then we decided, okay, there's not enough space.
Okay, you figured that out pretty fast.
We figured that out pretty fast. And we had in 2016, we had a house built over here in Osceola Hills.
Mm-hmm.
But we were still working. I was up in Iowa, and my wife was up in Iowa with me, and we were working. And when it was time to retire, we moved down here about 3 years ago now, full time.
Okay. And how long have you been doing the Lanai Gossip podcast?
I started Lanai Gossip in probably February. We did our first one in March and recorded 4 of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The same night. We had kind of a party at my house, and we'd go out to Lanai and do it. And I started doing it because my doctor said Alzheimer's runs in your family. It's wiped out everybody. You've got to learn something different that your mind's going to say, hey, I got to learn this and keep going. You know, crossword puzzles. He said no. Crossword puzzles he liked, but I don't like doing them. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I work at Captiva, and I see a lot of people come in with all these groups and stuff. And I said, well, I could do like an infomercial on their group to help their groups get more involved and get more participation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started getting all these groups, and I said, this would be a great opportunity to do a segment on all the groups we have in the Villages and maybe get more participation in the groups.
Yeah, it was one of the reasons I moved down here. At the time, there were 2,000 clubs and activities, but now there are 3,800 or something.
So many clubs. And I'll see people come in and they'll look in. And an example is tap dancing. These people want to tap dance, but they look in, they go, I don't. And I go, you got to go in there, you got to say hi, and they want you in there. They don't want you to not go in. And same with the billiard room and the card room, all the game rooms we have. Everyone's looking to get more members, and everybody's welcoming. And so I'm just trying to have that little Lanai Gossip video out there that if people are interested, they could take a look at the video and give them a contact information so they could start the process of getting involved.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We're in the Improv Club. We're always looking for new members. Mm-hmm. Okay, and when someone comes to the door trying to see what's going on at the rec center, we always welcome them in.
Yeah, and doing this podcast like you do, it's opened my eyes to all the clubs that are out there, all the different type of people that go to the different clubs.
Right.
Just totally, I would never go to some of these clubs. And then I actually went to the Beatles Mania the other day, which I'd never even heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And I enjoyed that. They went to Liverpool and they had a little vacation there, and a bunch of them went, and it was really interesting for someone that really didn't have anything to do with Beatles or being a maniac about them. I thought it was very interesting.
Right. I have at least one friend who's a member of that club. Mm-hmm. For our own reasons in Improv, I decided to take apart the list of the 3,000 clubs last year to find out how many clubs there really are. Mm-hmm. And I was quite surprised to determine that there were about 600 that really weren't clubs, but they were really activities. Mm-hmm. Okay, whether it was ping pong or another sport like pickleball.
Yeah.
Okay, they weren't like clubs.
Correct. They're activities. They have, pickleball at 10 o'clock at Eisenhower. We play. That's our club.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not the same as the Model T club in the villages.
No, or the, how about the convertible singles club? We have that, and they meet. And so everybody's so nice here too. We actually went to a local bar and we just set up our equipment and we just talked to people. And it was just amazing how the different backgrounds that everybody has. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of interesting. We'd like to do that again sometime.
Yeah, that sounds like an interesting exercise. Mm-hmm. This is Mike Roth with Dr. Craig Curtis for today's Alzheimer's tip. Dr. Curtis, several new medicines have been approved by the FDA for the treatment of Alzheimer's. How effective are they?
So the effectiveness so far shows an approximate 30% slowing of Alzheimer's disease when these medicines are used in patients with the very earliest stages of the disease.
With over 20 years of experience studying brain health, Dr. Curtis's goal is to educate the village's community on how to live a longer, healthier life. To learn more, visit his website, craigcurtismd.com, or call 352-500-5252 to attend a free seminar.
And we're back with Scott Beckner. So you distribute your podcast via YouTube?
YouTube, yep. I have my own YouTube channel, Lanai Gossip. I have a couple of clubs that I kind of am the ambassador of, I guess you could say, or we do golf on Sundays. We have card night, which we have euchre night every other Friday at Burnstead, and we also do bowling down here at Leesburg. So that's kind of how I've always kind of been a guy that got involved, and I do like being kind of in charge, which is a good thing or a bad thing. But
keeps your brain active.
It does. I try to make all of the clubs in the whole. So I have my clubs, but I also have my Lanai Gossip that I'm going to try to get more people involved in the clubs, and that's kind of what the object is of why we're here. But my wife and I, we love the villages, so we always promote it. It's always positive.
That's good. That's good. You invited me to come on, and I can talk to you forever about the Mercedes Club.
You got the Mercedes Club. You got the Improv. You got a lot of stuff to talk about. Your podcast, so that'll be an interesting interview. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah. When I came down here in the end of 2017, I got a little bit frustrated when I discovered there was no Mercedes Benz Car Club here. And I complained to the recreation department, and they said, well, here, fill out this form, find 5 people who want to join, put the names on the form, and we'll turn you into a club.
Exactly. And how far has it grown from 5 people?
We went from 5 people in March of 18 when we started to about 350 members now. Mm-hmm. And just amazing. It keeps growing.
It does, and something like that, which you didn't really have a problem growing, but it would be, that's what my Lanai Gossip will do. It'll give them kind of a commercial about what their club does and how to get involved and future events.
Yeah, that's very important. The village's recreation department with the Daily Sun cut out the description of the clubs and what they do to save space.
Yeah, I field phone calls daily when I'm working of what does this club do? What is this about? Just say Samba. Is anybody invited? They are, but they really don't know. I did a little podcast of what we have at the rec centers, and we have every game you can think of. You can walk in there with just nothing in your hands and play any game and learn the rules. Mm-hmm. So you're just a group of people. And a lot of people don't know that. They think they have to have all this stuff. I have a card night where we play euchre, and they supply the cards. And I didn't know that. I was bringing cards in for about a half a year until they finally said, hey, we have cards for
Look in the back closet.
I had to start working there to figure that one out.
Okay, yeah. Well, there are a really wide variety of activities here in the villages.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was at Bacall. We had a holiday party for the members of the Improv club. And it was one of the standard villages potlucks. And we arrived early to set up in the room. And we get there, and the guy behind the desk says, well, I can't let you go into the room yet. It's still in use. And we had a pile of stuff that we had to set up. And so we walked down the hall to see what was in use. I opened the door, and there's a fencing club going on. People with swords going after one another. I said, okay, they can have the room until it's time for them to break down. Funny. But you never know what's going on.
You don't know, and the rooms get used a lot. Now there's some more useful or being used than others, but ours is very busy at Captiva.
Yeah, the number of activities just ranges a full gambit, from learning how to swim to learning how to play pickleball
and I don't know anything about woodworking, but they got 2 woodworking shops now, and we're going to do a podcast next week on that. Very interesting, and I'm sure they have the best equipment. I've heard they've had the best equipment you can get for woodworking, so that'll be interesting too.
Yeah. I bet if they had an automobile shop, there'd be a lot of people who wanted to participate in that club.
That would be a good one, and I'd like to see in the future maybe a indoor basketball courts. I know they play at the churches now, but it would be nice if they could get an indoor. But I heard maybe down south they might. So
well, that new rec center isn't it called the Olympia?
I'm not sure.
I think it's called Olympia.
I haven't substantiated anything about that's going to be because I've heard things, but
I've heard some things from reliable sources that say it's going to have an indoor rock climbing wall.
That's cool.
Cool, but I just can't think of very many people our age, Scott, that would want to climb a rock wall strapped into a harness.
Yeah, I've never did it in my life, and I'm 60-year-old now, so I probably won't.
I've never climbed rock walls. When I was a kid, I climbed chain link fences.
Sure, yeah.
But, that was when I was a kid.
Right.
Different story altogether.
That's for the grandkids, probably.
Well, there's a lot of stuff up at that First Responders Center, which are oriented more towards children. Yeah. But the displays up there are wonderful. And the Eisenhower Center is almost a museum. Not really a museum.
It's beautiful.
Spent a lot of money on that. Yeah. But most of the rec centers are very nice.
They're very nice. Yeah, people nitpick a little bit, but I'm like, there's no place like it. No place like it that I know of. I visit my brother in Sun City, Arizona, and they've got 1 golf course, got 20 pickleball courts all together, and 1 rec center. And we got all these. We
don't have 1 swimming pool. We have 105 swimming pools. We don't have 1 18-hole golf course. Yeah. I don't know what the number is, whether it's...
I think 20 now, the 20 18-hole golf course.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of golf courses.
It is.
Plus the pitch and putts.
Yep.
Plus the 9-hole executive courses. Tremendous amount of activities on the sports side. Although I could never see, my wife plays golf most weeks with a group of ladies, but she dropped out for the summer.
Too hot.
Yeah,
I play year round, and I don't mind taking the golf cart to a 20-minute golf cart ride or even a 40-minute golf cart ride because it's easy, relaxing, and you get to anywhere you want to go to in a golf cart.
And most places have a golf cart path, special roadway that's reserved for low-speed vehicles that works out extremely well.
Yeah.
Of course, we do have some unsafe golf cart operators. I think it was last night. I was over at the Circle on Christine Way and Morse Boulevard, and I was trying to get off Christine onto Morse, and a guy in a golf cart comes through the Circle.
Oh,
dead lost.
I've kind of got not distracted, but just kind of got used to driving one way. And when I was coming home from Publix, you miss that golf cart turn off, and now you're in the road, and you got to go to a turnaround, and now you're on Morris Boulevard, and all you can do is get to the next exit to get off it because you can't jump the curb. And sometimes in my car, I start turning just for a second, start turning with a golf cart lane. I'm like, oh no, I'm not in a golf cart now. I'm in a car. So
that's a big mistake around here. I think that when people come down for the winter, all these snowbirds should be run through at least a 1-hour course in driving a golf cart in the villages, and another 30-minute course on how to drive in a traffic circle in the villages.
Oh, even us full-timers, we mess that up once in a while too. Yeah. No. Now, where I worked at universities most of my career, and we had traffic circles, we had mopeds, we had people crosswalking, in the crosswalk, students in the crosswalk. We had them jaywalking, bicycles.
Yeah,
so
that's my favorite, jaywalking.
I got kind of used to just always looking for something.
Right.
And so down here, it's kind of the same. I did it for 30 years. So it's kind of ingrained in me just to look for walkers, or for motorcycles, for golf carts, now they got scooters here, So yeah, if you're not used to that type
Segways.
if you're not used to that, it can be pretty daunting.
Right. We have a lot of different kinds of intersections, but I went to the Thriller concert down at, wasn't it Sawgrass? It was at Edna's on the Green.
On the Green, yeah.
With Katrina and the Thriller dancers.
Mm-hmm.
Led by Bonnie Stein. Bonnie's been on the show. And it must have been 1,000 people there.
That's a lot of people.
A lot of people. And so I got up to check out what they were serving on the trucks and for refreshments. And there was no line at the trucks to get food, so that was easy. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at the line for alcoholic beverages. There must have been 100 people in line.
They need new servers. They need better servers. More servers.
You would have thought they were giving away free marijuana or something by the size of the line. That was really quite surprising. Something you said earlier reminded me of one of the little scenes we're going to do in the Improv show coming up on November 7th, 6:30 p.m. at Ezell. At that show, we're going to do a skit based on an old George Carlin routine. Okay. George Carlin did a skit called The 7 Things You Can't Say on TV.
Yep.
Okay.
I remember that one.
Yeah. Our skit is named The 7 Things or phrases you can't say in TV or the Villages.
Okay. Yeah, right. TV, the Village.
Hey,
that's funny.
It's very funny. It's very funny. It is improvised.
Okay.
So it always comes out different, but you never know what the players are going to say.
How many players do you have to show up for a show?
On stage, we'll have 16 players who will be the major players in the cast. The club has about 40 members. There'll be a fellow who plays keyboard. This will be the first show that we're incorporating a live music performance into the show.
Good.
And we've managed to come up with about 5 of our members who are willing to sing in an improvised style when the time comes.
Yeah, that would drop me out. Singing, I got kicked out in 6th grade for chorus.
Yeah, so the funniest thing was our keyboard player is a really great musician and composer, Wayne Richard. And, Wayne says to me, Mike, the only one problem, what key are they going to sing in? And that's what I did. Exactly. I started to laugh. I said, Wayne, they're going to be singing in the key of K.
Yeah, whatever you start with, and they'll be singing a different key.
And with a scene with 3 singers, they may all sing in a different key.
Yeah, yes. I'd be like, key, what's key mean?
That's what you put in a lock on the door,
I know the words. That's as good as I'm going to get.
Right. I used to have perfect pitch. I played the trombone in high school.
Nice.
And just the time I was getting good, I was in engineering school and I needed all of my time. Mm-hmm. So I would pass my courses. So I dropped it out. Is there anything else you want to tell our listeners about the Lanai Gossip Show?
Yeah. If you'd like to come on and promote your group.
How do they contact you?
Well, they contact me they email me at commissioner@lanaigossip.com. I was voted, the top 5 commissioner in the Villages for 5 straight years now. So I'm pretty proud of that. That's why I call myself Commissioner number 5. It's kind of a little...
How do you get voted as a commissioner in the Villages?
Well, I kind of run the vote.
You kind of run the vote.
I kind of run the vote. I have 3 clubs. We got a lot of people that can vote. So I got a 5 on my golf cart. But no, that's kind of a running joke. I say I'm a top 5 commissioner. But and everybody asks me that.
You have to be running when you say that.
But anyway, no. And so if you want to come on the show, that would be great. Get a hold of me, commissioner@lanaigossip.com. You can email me.
What's the average length of your episode?
Well, we talk for about a half hour in my Lanai, and it is kind of, lawnmowers, weed whackers. You just can't, you just got to go through all that stuff. But, so the sound, you've got great quality sound in here. This is an awesome studio you got here. But mine's kind of outside. The sun kind of affects me, like when we do it. And then of course the lawnmowers or anything going on outside. The lawnmowers, the
leaf blowers.
Yeah. We've got, if we do it during the day, I have to worry about that. And I have to worry about air conditioners and our pump for our pool. But with the technology now, you can kind of drown some of that stuff out. If you want to come on and it's kind of like an infomercial for your group.
So if you're a club leader,
yes.
You want to contact Scott Beckner. at
Lanai Gossip. So it's going to be commissioner@lanaigossip.com. Or you can, that's the best way to get a hold of me. Also,
some people who
they can also just go on one of my shows and just do a comment. Hey, Scott, I'd love to be on your show.
So you read all the comments?
Yeah, I read all the comments. Hey, Scott, I'd love to come on your show. And that's how I kind of get word of mouth too is, hey, I'll interview somebody and they'll say, you need to interview this person. You need to interview that person. But membership does increase if people do come on our show. Also, what I do is it's all positive. Your show's positive. My show's positive. The segment that you'll be on will be positive. It's not kind of a get you type of, it's all good stuff. So definitely come on.
We cut out all the bad stuff.
Well, yeah, I edit it. We don't do it live because I'd look bad. Yeah.
But I always like to include a joke for my grandson, Evan. Since Halloween has just been with us, what is a witch's favorite subject in school, Scott? A witch's favorite subject in school?
Mine was lunch. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with math.
Spelling. Okay.
Nice joke. He'll enjoy that one.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on.
And thanks for being on.
But yeah.
Scott, how do people get a hold of you to talk about being on Lanai Gossip?
Probably the easiest way is to give me a phone call, 478-363-7807. That's my phone number.
Good.
Get a hold of me there, or you could email me at commissioner@lanaigossip.com.
Good.
You could also just put a comment. I read all my comments and say, hey, I'd like to be on your show. Mm-hmm. So those 3 ways you could get a hold of me.
And is that telephone number a cell phone? So can they text you with that number as well?
They can text me also. Yes, that's my cell phone number.
Right. We have a couple of people in our Mercedes Club who really love to text me.
Yeah.
But I'm old-fashioned, so texts get read last.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, emails first.
Well, kids don't answer their phone nowadays. I got to text my own kids.
Well, yeah, if I want to talk to my daughters,
yes.
I don't call them anymore. I send them a text and say, hey, Janet, we got to talk.
Exactly. That's how I do it, too.
Yeah, and they respond right away. If I leave a voicemail message for her, days.
They don't get it. So, well, thanks for having me on the show, Mike. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming over, Scott. Thanks.
Remember, our next episode will be released next Friday at 9 a.m. Should you want to become a major supporter of the show or have questions, please contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. This is a shout out for supporters Greg Pangian, Tweet Coleman, Dan Capellan, Ed Williams, Alvin Stenzel, and major supporter Dr. Craig Curtis at K2 in the Villages. We will be hearing more from Dr. Curtis with short Alzheimer's tips each week. If you know someone who should be on the show, contact us at mike@rothvoice.com. We thank everyone for listening to the show. The content of the show is copyrighted by Roth Voice 2023, all rights reserved.